Welcome to Learning Beyond Paper, the new innovative curriculum that supports your teachers every step of the way. When you first log into Learning Beyond, you'll see your teacher reflections and assessments. You'll be able to manage your classes and your students. We do all of your setup for you from your rosters, but if you would like to do it yourself, you click this quick getting started video that will walk you through step by step. Shop for Materials will take you to our Lakeshore partnership, but you'll notice as we go through the curriculum, most of the things you're already going to have in your center or can easily swap out for materials you have on hand. To access the curriculum as an admin, you'll go to these three blue lines at the top and then click Teacher. Now, this is the screen you'll see when your teachers log in. Right now, the blue smiley face says pre-K4, but if I click there, I can select any of the other age groups. Not only do you have access to all age groups in all 52 weeks, but your teachers do as well. So if you ever have that call out where your pre-K4 teacher needs to hop in that infant room, all they have to do is click infant, and then they'll be in the infant curriculum. All of the layout between age groups is going to look the same, so it's super easy to navigate. The only differences you're going to have is with our infants and our younger toddlers. These age groups are going to have 4 activities a week that they're going to repeat daily. The reason for this is that the lessons are going to be more one-on-one than the small group and whole group you see with our older kiddos. And then also this age group needs a lot more repetition with the same activity in order to acquire those skills. Now our 2-year-olds are on the move. They're ready for more variety. And so that's when we're going to switch into our daily activities. So 2-year-olds are going to have 4 activities a day. And then our preschool 3 and pre-K4 kiddos are going to have 5 activities a day. But again, everything else is going to look the same as far as layout. This first tile here, lesson plans, is going to be your weekly overview. Anytime you see this blue button with the plus or minus, you can select your week. Now, Learning Beyond is already set up for you in a developmental progression. So teachers, all they have to do is just follow week by week. For instance, with pre-K4, this is week 1, just got to that classroom. Week 52, leaving and moving on to kindergarten. Those skills are going to increase in difficulty throughout the year. And then, of course, we're going to cycle through those standards for multiple exposures. What I love about this view is that not only is it printable, but it's also clickable. So you can see all of your activities and your standards on one page. And then if I want to see the full lesson plan, so say I want to see fingerprint study, I'll click there and that will take me to that full lesson plan overview. The second tile is your daily activities. So that's the other way to access the curriculum. Again, you have your weekly view here, and then this is going to be how you select your days. Learning Beyond is labeled days 1 through 5, not Monday through Friday. So you have flexibility in planning. At the top, you'll see your tabs for your activities. And then for each lesson, you're going to have your topic and activity name at the top. So we have our classroom family unit here with Llama Llama Mrs. Mama, part of our author study. We'll have our main objective here, and then that's coded for the Learning Beyond standard, but I'll show you that we have an alignment document for your state where you can easily align each activity. We have our materials and setup here, and then we have our procedures and teacher talk. So you'll notice this is numbered step by step. It's scripted, so it has everything even down to what questions to ask. It's kind of a recipe for teaching. And so with Learning Beyond, it's really meant to be pick up and go. You could hire a brand new teacher that has never taught before, and they could easily follow this lesson plan without a ton of stress. What's nice is that it's also going to teach teachers as they're teaching. So what does a good literacy lesson look like? What are the types of questions I should be asking? What are the types of things I should be pointing out when I'm doing a read aloud? That's all built into the lesson so that teachers learn what they're supposed to be doing and what best practice is when it comes to working in the classroom. In addition to our whole group supports, we also provide a learning support section at the bottom of every single lesson plan. So what this is going to be is built-in differentiation for your students. So I kind of call it my toolbox of the ways that I can individualize my instruction. Sometimes you're going to find ways to adapt your whole group lesson to the needs that you see in your classroom. Sometimes you're going to find an entire other little small group lesson that you can do with a couple of kids that just don't get it yet, and they just need some additional support on that small group setting. And this is also where you're going to find any ways to adapt for the different types of learners in your classrooms. So say you have a kiddo that has some sensory issues, and we need to adapt the lesson for them. Or we have a kiddo that's really struggling with their fine motor skills. All of that is going to be packed into this learning support section. On the right, you're going to have social emotional development. So every single academic lesson is going to have a social emotional skill built in. So just like we have academic goals, we're going to have social emotional goals built into this academic lesson. At the bottom of your lesson plan, you're going to find two buttons. The first is Home Connections. This is your built-in parent newsletter. It's printable, it's downloadable. You can share it however you normally share information with parents, whether that is through a bulletin board, emailing, or a parent app. This goes through everything the student has done that day, even down to what books they've read, what songs they've sang. I love this as a parent because when I pick my little one up from school and I say, what did you do today? I get one of two answers. I either get nothing or I played. So it's really hard for me as a parent to have a conversation about their day, to extend any of that learning. So with this newsletter, you are really arming parents with everything they need to be part of that partnership that you really want to form with your teachers and your families. So this is really the first step in really formulating that family engagement in your center. The other button you're going to find at the bottom is going to be Teacher Reflections. So I'll show you what that looks like from your admin screen. We know that whenever teachers reflect on their teaching, they become better teachers. However, a lot of times that kind of gets swept under the rug in light of everything else that teachers have to do that day. And so we wanted to build it in as part of the lesson, just as a quick check-in. So they just answer a couple of questions like, were the students actively engaged? When needed, how did I adapt the activity? If I had the opportunity to offer it again, what would I do differently? And then there's a comments box with a prompt. This is also where they can put any notes about the lesson, so things they wanted to change for next time, or any student notes. So if you're tracking certain goals for students, you can put your observation notes here. All you have to do is click save, and then it's going to save for that day. So even if I'm at week 52, I can always go back to week 1 and see my note. And then you as a director, you're able to see all of your reflections on one page. You're able to easily see who has completed them. And this is a great temperature check for your classrooms. We know it's really hard right now to get in and even observe your teachers right now. Some of you may, have spent the last week in a classroom covering, right? And so if we don't know what's going on in our classrooms, it's really hard to support our teachers. So this teacher reflection section is really going to give you a weekly tool where you can communicate with teachers and really figure out what their needs are and how you can best support them on the day-to-day. The next section we're going to have is resources. So under resources, this is where you'll find your monthly themes, your curriculum map, your scope and sequence, and your teacher's guide. The teacher's guide is going to include this first tile, using Learning Beyond paper. So whenever your teachers first log into the curriculum, this is going to take them through step by step. Where do I find everything? We also offer live teacher training all throughout the year, where teachers can connect on Zoom with one of our educational advisors to walk through whatever issues they may be having, and we can help support them with the curriculum. In addition to that, all of our other tiles have best practice training. And so you'll find a webinar underneath each of these. They're about 5 to 10 minutes each. They add up to an hour of in-service training. So once your teachers have completed this, all you have to do is email us their names and they'll get a certificate for that learning. In addition to that, you'll find tons of other trainings throughout this curriculum. For instance, we have an intentional environments training, and you will see more training in the near future, like a math everyday training, teacher-child interactions, and an equity training. With our standards button, this is how you'll be able to align the curriculum to your individual state standards. So for instance, with Florida, we have it split up by each age group. You'll see the Florida standards on the left. So whatever your state is will be on the left, and the Learning Beyond standards on the right. These are the ones that you saw on that original lesson plan, coded next to the objective. We have our materials here. And so this is a weekly overview. So another time saver when it comes to prepping your classrooms for everything you need for the week. You'll notice, again, these are things that you should probably already have on hand in your centers. So crayons, paper plates, markers, things like that. And the books, if you don't have the individual copies in your classrooms, these are easy to find at your local library, online, or through any other purchasing option. And then the last piece we have is the assessment. So with Learning Beyond, you get an ongoing observational assessment. So this is something that you're going to use in addition to your progress monitoring tool. You'll have assessment available for each student. It's split up by each developmental domain, and then the teacher will just mark off not yet observed, observed or attempted, or consistently or frequently. You'll notice this is really lengthy because these are all the skills for that age group span. So this is not something your teachers are going to complete all in one day, all in 1 week, or even all in 1 month. We recommend doing about 3 a year so that you are able to see that progress. But what's really great is that this is not only a great teacher and student tool, this can be a really great parent tool as well. We provide a blank copy that you can send home to parents, especially right before those parent-teacher conferences. They fill it out at home, you fill it out in the center, and then they can bring that to that conference, and this can become our goal-setting sheet. A lot of times, some of our traditional assessments may use words like below benchmark or give a certain score. And when we're talking about a child that is really struggling in some areas, that can be a much different conversation to have than when we look at this assessment and say, hey, these are some things we haven't seen yet. And that's okay because all skills are developmental. But here's some things that you can do at home to support this skill. Here's some things I'm going to do in the classroom. When are we going to meet back to just talk about the goals that we set together? And so this can really be a powerful tool to partner with those parents. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for a little bit and for going through the curriculum. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. We would love to answer your questions and get you started with Learning Beyond.